Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, MrBooMStickXL, and as you can hear the excitement in my voice, I am ready to talk about all of these amazing hot topics. And yes, when I talk about hot, it is damn near 95 degrees here in New York, and I am dying, thank God, for AC. But in order to pull off this show, you always need a co-host. And obviously, you know, we've talked about this in the past. My co-host from across the pond, the Welsh Gamer, is currently on holiday, taking it easy, and he will be back in August right now. And, like I said, I had to find a co-host who I respect, who I look up to as a content creator, who I enjoy listening to, and I found just that person in the form of Gaming Forte, and you know him as one of the main cogs that keeps the Basement Radio Arcade podcast rolling each and every week. And he just put out an outstanding 12.5-minute video that has not gotten the traction that it deserves. And I think that everyone should head over to his channel, sub it, and check out his new video called "Why Are Xbox Fans Turning Their Backs on the Next Xbox?" So after this ridiculous introduction, Gaming Forte, how are you doing, dude?
Man, I'm good, man. I've been up since 5:30 this morning because I had to drop my wife off at the airport. And we all know going to the airport is the slowest thing, but coming home is so much faster.
It is certainly is.
So I made sure I just stayed all the way up to do the podcast with you because I always look forward to these little greetings that we get together. And I'm definitely excited to get into some of the topics that we're talking about.
Well, you know what? I first want to thank all 25 people that have been waiting in the chat. That it really does mean a lot to me. I will get to each and every one of you because, you know, it's one of my, I guess, ticks. I like to welcome everyone individually. It's just something I enjoy doing because I love this community. But I want to get into the first topic. And listen, if you follow me and you have, or you're new to the channel, I do rants very rarely because I like to just, I do these shows and I kind of speak my mind. And I did a rant regarding the Gears 5 smoking controversy, which I believe is absolutely out of control. And I did a video on Monday, which got some pretty good views on it. So I'm happy about that. So thanks for everyone who tuned in. But we're going to open up the show with this topic because I want to, you know, when I do these shows, a lot of research goes in on the back end that no one knows about. And I also like to bring evidence when I'm going to put, I guess maybe it's my police background, but I have the evidence to prove that, you know, I don't like using the words gaming media bias, but I'm going to use the words Xbox bias today in this particular topic. And I'm going to break down in a few minutes why I feel that is. And of course, I'm going to get the chat's opinion and of course, my outstanding co-host in Gaming Forte. Listen, if you're unaware, Variety on July 12th did an article. They had an exclusive article, where it stated that all depictions of smoking would be removed from Gears 5. And this is what the article had to say. The decision to remove all smoking references from Gears 5 came after non-for-profit anti-smoking organization, the Truth Initiative, approached Turner, whose E-League esports division has broadcast rights to the title, about making the change. Turner collaborated with the coalition to strip out smoking from the game. And, you know, why I want to continue talking about this is because how out of control it has spiraled since this, especially on social media. You know, you keep hearing the words that that the artists, meaning the coalition, are being held back, right, by making this decision. And that's not, in fact, the case. And in a statement from Rod Fergusson, studio head at the said coalition, this is what he had to say. I've seen firsthand the devastating impact of smoking. It's always been important to me not to use smoking as a narrative device, which is why we made the conscious choice to avoid highlighting or glorifying smoking in Gears 5 and throughout the Gears of War universe moving forward. Now, according to a rep from Xbox Game Studio, this decision was done solely by Rod Fergusson and the coalition. Now, before we break this down, Forte, I want to bring a piece of media bias or fake outrage evidence to the table that was brought to my attention by community member Great Skull Zero. Now, this story I pulled from Kotaku, and it's a story that no one was talking about. Now, Devil May Cry 5, released by Capcom earlier this year. Fantastic title. But the latest game in the long running series of has a scene or several scenes where Trish, a character from the game, falls from the inside of an enemy. I believe it's like a giant plant creature. I think it's the belly of the beast, and she's naked. Now, Dante catches her and lays her on the ground. Camera angle largely obscures any nudity, but players have discovered that in the Western version, meaning the US version of the PlayStation 4 version of the game, the scene is censored with lens flare from Dante's motorcycle blotting out Trish's rear end. Okay? Even more strangely, Forte, there's another scene in the game featuring her rear end that and again, this is something, we all have butt cracks, right? We're all human beings, we're not robots. We all have butt cracks, folks. It was once again censored with lens flare. Now, here's the thing, okay? Why I bring this up as Xbox bias is Gears of War 5 since E3 has had the media as well as the fan base and I guess the general scope of social media shitting on this game at any chance that they had an opportunity to kind of poke at it while it's down. I think people have been taking it. Now, I have been very public about my feelings, Forte, that they didn't show any single player campaign. And we understand that Rod Fergusson pulled that out the last minute because he didn't want to spoil certain scenes in the game. You know what? I respect that. But here's where I get into the Xbox bias. We have seen the word censorship seems to be getting thrown around a lot. And it's funny that when you read some of these posts, and they're very uneducated posts by people that are certainly unaware of what the actual definition of censorship means. And they keep saying that, well, Rod Fergusson, shame on the for them for agreeing to be have their talent pulled away, and why is smoking being pulled out? What about graphic violence? What about chainsawing people? Well, look, here's the thing, folks. If you're listening to this and you're already getting salty, leave me a message in the chat after the show, and I'll get back to you personally. Okay, censorship, if I'm not mistaken, because I did go to school, meaning something has to be in there to be removed, to be censored. Kind of like what happened with Devil May Cry on the PlayStation 4 that no one's talking about. But the smoking thing, whoa, wait a second. The smoking thing's outrageous. How dare Rod Fergusson tell you a story about his father who passed away at 38 from a heart attack when he was 4? How dare him open up and tell a private story? Come on, folks. If you are getting triggered over no smoking, which has no impact on the gameplay, zero on how your enjoyment level, you know what? Maybe the Xbox brand and the Gears franchise isn't effing for you. So my question to you, Forte, is what's the difference in coverage? Why is Gears 5 getting all of this ridiculous, unnecessary, negative media coverage and social media coverage regarding effing cigarettes, which are a disgusting habit, oh, by the way, and then, of course, a censored PlayStation 4 game in Devil May Cry 5 no one is talking about? What do you think the deal is?
So the biggest thing I really believe is more of is Microsoft. So it's a first-party game. People already want to find reasons to be mad at the game already because they haven't shown the things that people wanted to see in the game. So when a news article like this or news drops about censorship in the game and about tobacco use, which has been very lightly used overall in the Gears of War franchise, outside of just people holding cigarettes or cigars in their hand, when it becomes a big story because people when you're talking about a AAA game, everybody wants to be the first one to print something about it, and good or bad. And now that we don't, the fact that we don't have anything to single player related, this is what everybody's narrative is falling to. You know, well, what can we do to get clicks on our titles or clicks on our videos and stuff about this game? Everybody's out here talking about this. Like I told you when you said you wanted to tie the bow on this one, I'm like, yeah, because everybody is basically just dragging this through the mud like it's this unholy thing that happens. Yes, cigarette smoking and stuff like that is horrible. My mother did it for the majority of my younger life, and then she finally gave it up when I turned about 18 or 19. It hasn't smoked since. She's in her 50s now, so that's an amazing thing. But thinking that this is something that is so detriment to the game that it needs to be covered and talked about on a mass level as much as this is crazy. And the only reason it's happening is because it's a AAA game, it's from Microsoft, and people are just upset that they haven't gotten the coverage that they want from the game or seen what they want to see. Now, when it comes to other games like Devil May Cry, which, man, shout out to those lens flares, because I actually, when you posted it, I went back and looked at that video again, because I did see it when it first launched, and I was like, man, Michael Bay put some work in this video, because those lens flares, man, I was like, you see booty holes and cracks and everything in the Xbox version, the PC version, the Japanese version. It's crazy. And then when you look at it's like, it is not even close how much they censored it. They even went as far as made sure the lens flare moved with her behind.
Yes, it was crazy, right? Like they put some real work into this.
They put some work into that cover up and stuff. And the reason it wasn't such a big thing is because it's Devil May Cry, it's Capcom, and it's not. Yes, it's a big franchise, but it's not a tentpole franchise for a platform like Microsoft or Sony. So that's why you're going to see a lot of hate and stuff on it. And then on top of that, people are just tired of the Gears of War franchise. I think they want Microsoft to make new IPs, and it's just like a big domino effect. But I think people are taking out way too much frustration on something that's so meaningless. Like, not saying smoke, like telling people that they shouldn't smoke is meaningless, because that's not the thing. But the conversation shouldn't be about this. It should be about what you're excited to see in the game, or what you wish they show you in the game. You know, like when, like you just said, you spoke you put your feedback out there about how you feel about them not showing campaign. I think everybody has pretty much reached that sentimentality altogether. But just because we haven't seen that doesn't mean we should go out of our way to lambaste someone like Rob Fergusson, who basically just, spilt his heart out there and said, like, hey, this is something that really truly impacted me, and people aren't basically taking his word for that. I'm like, they're basically saying that he's just doing it because these bigger entities want him to do it. No, it's just because the situation where they wanted to remove it, and he said that was a decision he made, not a decision that Microsoft made. They made the decision as a company, as a coalition, that they wanted to remove any depiction of that from the game. And honestly, it really wasn't in the franchise to begin with. It was very small. I think that been one character that actually held a cigar. That really did it, honestly. Yeah. And outside of him and a couple of other people, you really never see it. So it's really no big deal, but people are going to make it a big deal because it's a Microsoft title, and Microsoft has disappointed people so much over this whole generation. They don't know how to do nothing but be upset.
You know what bothers me more than anything, Forte, is the way that the again, you don't know which community it is. So we're just going to say social media, because I'm not going to turn around here on an Xbox show and be like, you know what, those damn PlayStation people, right? Because you know what, I don't roll like that. Like I said, I support all three consoles, and I really effing enjoy all three consoles. So I'm not a part of a people. I'm a gamer. I think you're a gamer, and I think a lot of people in this chat, even if they're just Xbox fans, I don't think they go around poking at PS4 fans for being PS4 fans. And I hope that's not I hope that goes the other way as well. Just because you're an Xbox fan, PS4 fans shouldn't be poking at you either. So with that said, the way that the community as a whole, the negative, toxic community attacked Rod Fergusson over this, where the next day he had to drop this personal story about his father. And you know what? You know when someone tweets And if me and you were trying to make a point, we'll use all 144 characters, right? We're trying to get a point across. This was this was a mad tweet. This was a disappointed tweet. This was someone that felt, I think, wronged by the community, where it was only a several words. My dad was a smoker. He passed away at 38 from a heart attack. I was 4. End fucking quote. Pardon my French. And for him to have to say it like that the next day, that's why I just cursed myself, because I was so aggravated that he actually had to tell this story to justify his decision, which, by the way, folks, you know, again, when we were hearing censorship, they're making them do this. Well, guess what, folks? He's the lead dog at the coalition. And if he said that this is something they made a conscious, meaning his decision to do before this, then why question it? Now, I have heard people even suggest, well, if it wasn't that big of a deal, why make the announcement? Well, because you know what? They're a corporation, and standing up against something as disgusting as smoking is something that I stand shoulder to shoulder with that dude. Okay, folks, smoking kills. And if you do smoke, hey, I'm not gonna dislike if you smoke. If you smoke, well, then that's your conscious decision to do that to your body. I've never smoked, and I'm proud of it. My dad smoked. My dad passed away at 45 from lymphoma. Now, was smoking the 100% part of it? Well, it was a part of it, but it wasn't all of it. He was a construction worker back in the days. They worked with asbestos. He got sick, and sure, it sucks. But at the same time, I don't have to tell that story, but I felt it necessary to kind of incorporate it into this particular topic. What aggravates me is that you don't see this kind of lambasting going on with Sony's stuff. And again, I'm not trying to make this a console war thing, but you look, folks, when I do these shows, like I said in the opening, I put a lot of conscious effort into writing these scripts, okay? And they're always fair. They're always fair-minded scripts because I enjoy gaming as a whole. But when something is so blatant, when something is so right in your face, you have to speak about it. So if you are a PlayStation fan and you are somehow offended by this, well, listen, first of all, I'm sorry to have offended you, but you have to call a spade, Forte. And if the writing is on the wall, now, am I wrong for thinking this?
No, you're not. And the biggest thing is a lot of people don't realize what would have happened if this was a Sony IP and this happened. Think about it. If you haven't played it, Uncharted is one of the best franchises on the PlayStation platform. And one of the main characters in that series, Victor Sullivan, Sully, smoked all the freaking time. Having if Sony went in and said, hey, past Uncharted 3, so Uncharted 4, we're not going to have Sully smoking anymore. Let's say he basically, in between games, just in a whim, just stopped smoking, and they just made it so he just didn't do it anymore. That would be weird as heck, because the man always had a stogie or a cigar in his hand through every one of the different what's names. The reason I think it became a public thing is because they're in esports. They want Gears of War to be an esport. That's why they're putting so much effort behind all the different things when it comes to not just the campaign in Gears of War. That might also be one of the reasons why they haven't even wanted to show campaign footage yet, because they want all the build for the multiplayer to be there, because they're doing the Turner's doing the tournament coming up, which I actually just started already. And who's to say that Turner wouldn't have came out and released this same statement on their own behalf, saying that Gears of War wouldn't have that in there? Because trust me, that's the reason this all started. Turner went to them and said, hey, we don't want to have anything with smoking depictions in the game because we're sponsoring a tournament through you guys. And that's $1 million. That's millions of dollars right there. It's marketing and everything. So why leave an announcement like that to a third party? You want to put your own spin
you want to get out
in
front of that, dude. Yeah,
you want to get out in front of it. So that's why I believe the coalition came out and made the statement, because why would you want someone else to make a statement like that for you? You control the narrative that way. Just imagine if this would have came out a different way, then they have to react to what someone else said, and then they got to defend themselves even more than they're defending themselves now. So I think they did a good thing. I mean, I just wish people wouldn't read so much between the lines of what other people say, especially when it comes to Rob Fergusson, because I mean, the man told you this is something that he went through in his life. And, you know, yes, Turner probably had a big reason why they wanted to remove it, and they wanted to be in the esports scene with them. But it still doesn't change the fact that it's the most disgusting thing you can do in the world, and nobody should ever be a part of that. But your body is your body. You can do what you want to do. If you like smoking, no one's telling you not to. They're just telling you it's not going to be in the game.
Right. And you know what? At the end of the day, like I think we both made reference of it, the smoking aspect is not going to impact the game play whatsoever. Whether you play Horde, whether you play Escape, whether you play the single play campaign, whatever, it's not going to affect you know what I'm saying. Like I said, if it was going to affect your gameplay, and now the gameplay is now changed in a way that you don't enjoy it anymore, then of course you can start screaming censorship all you want. But you know what, like I said, we've beaten this to death. I don't want to spend too much more time on it, because I want to talk about some positive Gears news that broke just recently. This story that we're segueing into, I pulled from gears5.com, and they just announced their arcade mode, which was revealed and looks insanely fun, proving that the 3 years of this game's development, Forte, they're not just bringing us the same old. You know what I'm saying? It's not just chainsawing anymore. You know, this is officially from their webpage. We're excited to reveal the first look at arcade, a brand new type of versus experience for all types of players. This ultimate jump in, jump out mode brings hero characters, each with their own distinct abilities and weapon upgrades, to Gears 5 versus gameplay. Arcade Deathmatch is just the beginning, where 2 teams of 5 race to be the first to get 50 kills. This promises to be anything unlike anything we've played in Gears so far. And I got to tell you, dude, first of all, if you're not aware, on the first test date for arcade and the 5 hero characters in Gears 5, the tech test is going to be on July 19th. So you can jump in anytime you want. You pre-order Gears 5 or subscribe to Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and you can get in. Forte, first of all, did you get a chance to watch the actual video that I sent you? And how crazy is it that Gears characters are going to be kind of like an Overwatch, just ultra violent?
Oh man, well I watched it again when you sent it to me, but I actually watched it the moment it launched, and boy, it got, you know, the music, it got your adrenaline pumping. It was a really cool video. I like how they put taunts in there, so whenever you do something crazy, you could taunt the other team, and I think that is a really cool thing. I think a lot of people, ever since Overwatch released, people been looking for something to basically not quench that urge, because Overwatch isn't for everybody. That's more of a team-based game, where Gears of War, it's this arcade mode is still going to be Gears of War multiplayer, but you'll be able to play it with the people from the campaign. And I think that's a lot of something that you can identify with more than just a blank slate of an avatar that you normally play with, or just skins like they had before. So I think this is a really, really good thing. I really believe it's speaking to the thing I just talked about earlier, where Microsoft is really, or not even Microsoft, but the coalition is doubling down on the multiplayer aspect. Because let's be for real, the game, Gears of War 4 released 3 years ago at this point, I believe.
Yeah, 3 years. Yes,
3 years ago. So. And I hate to say this, when it comes to a single player game, they did say that they're gonna change stuff out. They said they're going to not revolutionize, but they said they're going to take chances on the game when it comes to Gears of War 5. I don't think those chances are going to be in the visual department because I don't think they're not doing a new engine. They're still running on the same engine they were running on before. It's just going to be a more prettier looking version of the game, pretty much like how Destiny 1 went to Destiny 2. You can see a visual makeover in the game, but it's still the same game. I think it's going to be a bigger open world, not an open world, but a wider world that you can experience and go through. But in those things, if they show those things, it's going to be the same thing that they pretty much showed in Gears 4. So outside of just seeing story beats, I think that's the reason they haven't shown that stuff. And I still disagree they should still show it because God of War showed us a bunch of story beats and we still enjoyed that freaking game. But the multiplayer is what's going to keep people on the game.
Yes.
And we already saw the escape mode. We know we got classic horde mode. We know we have classic multiplayer. And now they just added this arcade mode. And this is just going to be, and this is probably going to be a little bit I want to say faster pace, because the one thing about the casual base, they like faster gameplay. That's why Call of Duty does so well with its Twitch shooting. Compared to regular Gears, it's more of a slow paced game with shotguns barreling down each other's backs all the time. And I can see this game mode just being a little bit more faster. More people could get in and out. And the fact that it's drop in, drop out, and no seamless interruptions in the game, that is really, really cool. And I think that's where they're trying to bridge the gap between the hardcore player and the casual player base, because we all know they had a problem in Gears of War 4. So many people stopped playing the multiplayer, especially on PC. They had to merge the two together. Now I think they're trying to be forward thinking on how are we going to keep the multiplayer suite populated at all times. Well, one good way is put it in Game Pass so more people can get a chance to play it without having to actually buy a $60 game. The other way, give people more reasons to want to play the game with different game modes, and that's what they're doing in this. So I'm super excited, man. It looks really cool, and I really like those taunts because I like taunting people in games, period. So that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, the more modes that they have for this game, the better draw it's going to have. And you know what? No, thank God, there's no battle royale mode, right? Like we're happy that there's not 50 Marcus Phoenixes running around the map trying to chainsaw the hell out of each other, because I don't think it would do well. And personally, I would never play it. But when you start talking about hero shooter, when you start talking about Overwatch, right? You start talking about Apex Legends. Where it's a team. It's a team. You can do team battles. I like that direction because it's going to open the door for more players. There are a lot of people that still play these games religiously. You know what I'm saying? And it's nice to know that they're thinking outside of the box. Like I said, you said it right. That you're going to have your Gears Horde, right? You're going to have your standard deathmatch. You're going to have your standard, not standard, different campaign, but it's going to be, those things are kind of what we know we're going to get. I like that, the escape thing totally shocked me that the 3-player. And what's great about that is those 3 characters in escape actually matter in the world. They have they're in a comic.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So those characters matter. They have stories. They have backgrounds. When was the last time you saw someone do something different like that? It's been quite a while, Forte.
Oh, man. I mean, shoot, it took Overwatch almost 3 years to, build some type of single player narrative into their multiplayer game. So the fact that we're starting to see this as soon as the beginning with Gears 5 is something that I think a lot of people can really appreciate, because the backstory of these characters, a lot of people already know, especially some of the original characters. We're still trying to flesh out these newer characters a little bit more, with Kate being the main focal point of the last 2 games. And pretty much we don't even know how that story is just going to turn out because they're so secretive about it. I just find just the little viral marketing that they do for the game, like at E3 where they just show her flipping out with psychosis right on the screen, that could be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really looking forward to see exactly how these things play out in the full version of the game. And I think they're doing a really, really good job in that. But like I said before, people just want to see more. And I mean, I can't be mad at people for wanting to see more.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I listen. Everybody wants to see what look. The bottom line is this: this is the biggest launch. It was one of the bigger launches in video games this year, 2019. It's a big deal. It's an even bigger deal for the Xbox platform because obviously this is the first party that's come out since Forza Horizon 4 that has this much oomph, if you will, behind it. So of course we all want to know about it, but I don't mind waiting because listen, I'll say this. Yeah, I was the first one to jump on the wagon that says I wanted different Gears. I wanted a more or less smaller open world Gears, and I have to compare it because this was a great game. God of War did it right. It was big, but it wasn't big. It wasn't too big, and I think that with the new vehicle that Kate's going to be driving around with Dell, whoever she's going to be teamed up with, that's going to give you an opportunity to check out I mean, the Gears world has yet to be explored properly, in my opinion. You know, I've played them all. I've beaten them all 100 times over, and a lot of the design is going down a broken hallway looking for the cog tags. Right, that's the most exploration you're going to get. You have burnt out cars, broken buildings, dead bodies, skeletons. You know, camps that are deserted. We've seen all of that. And obviously, I think that they heard the cries that, you know, Gears 4 was great. I really enjoyed the hell out of that. I did not like the BD part where you're fighting the robots. I really did not like that. But the regular Gears campaign was fantastic. It was really well done. The story was engaging and I enjoyed it. But they heard the cries of the fans and they had to do something different. Now, this semi open world Gears, I'm hoping brings side missions, brings side stories, something different to the table. And in the multiplayer realm, you're starting to see that they're doing different things. You remember when Horde was a thing, when it was a new thing? People lost their shit.
That's all we used to play.
Right. So now you have these new other modes with characters that actually have a backstory. You have an arcade mode that's a hero shooter using their words, which is freaking pretty awesome. Each character has taunts, like you were saying. They all have special moves. I mean, that's so different than what we were used to. How could you not get excited?
Oh man. Well, like I said, it all comes down to the execution. And right now, everything that they're talking about is shaping up to be a really, really fun game. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what the reception of the game is going to be, because I honestly believe this game, Gears of War 4 came in at like an 84 Metacritic, I believe, or 86 or something like that, where Gears 5, I just believe that this game, with the stuff that they're doing on it, they're putting a lot of features in this game, and they're going to really be going after the hearts and minds and giving people exactly what they want in the Gears game. Now, it all hinges on the campaign, because I think the campaign is the one thing that everybody is going to bank a lot of their score on, because the multiplayer side of it has never lacked. It's always been amazing. It's always been good. It's always been crisp. It's not a multiplayer that's for everybody, but like I said earlier, I think they're trying to change that up a lot with just the arcade mode alone to get people in and out of the arcade and let you know that you're not, you don't have to play the hardcore version of the game to enjoy it. And if the single player comes up and gives us everything we want, man, this could be a game of the year pretender. And I really hope it is, because Microsoft really needs something like that, not only just for the platform, but just for Game Pass in general, because people are all just the success of this game is going to be tied to the success of Game Pass. And if people see this game and they feel like Microsoft put a lot of work into it and it comes out being a stellar hit, it makes Game Pass even more incredible than it is already. And I think these little nuggets they're dropping is just hints of that. And let's just hope that they live up to the expectations.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I think that, we've already seen what the graphics look like. If you remember going back all the way to E3 2018, that cutscene and those small snippets of the single player campaign looked insane. And that was what? a year and a half out from what we're going to be
ago.
getting in September 10th. So you can only imagine what the end game is going to look like. Like, it's going to be insane. And again, you know, you have your 4K TVs. It's going to support HDR. It's already been confirmed that it's running at 4K 60 the whole entire game. Folks, listen, I got to be honest with you. I can't tell you how to feel. All right. I know that I'm feeling real good about this game. I think you are as well. And I think everyone just needs to take a step back to get the controversy behind it. I am going to make this prediction. And I think I might have said this on the Brap rant that you guys did this week or the last week that I was a part of. But I think that, you know, Gamescom, which is coming out, I believe, in August 20th, right? Which is obviously going to be about 30 days, a month before Gears launches on the 10th of September. Originally, they were going to show just Horde. I honestly have to say, I think that with the outcry of complaining that people did, and like I said, I complained too. I'm not going to say I didn't lie to you. I was disappointed. I was at E3, and I was expecting to see some gameplay. Someone come up on stage and give me 8 minutes, give me 5 minutes, get me Rod playing this game, something. It didn't happen. So sure, I was disappointed. But I think that not only are we going to get the Horde mode, you know, we're going to see what new stuff is coming to Horde, but I think we're going to get at least a 5 to 7 minute snippet of gameplay at Gamescom to kind of, I guess, calm the fears of the masses who have concerns for the Gears campaign. Which, of course, you know, you've read different things, but look, this has been a great Gears topic. We're already 35 minutes into the show, and it's been Gears. And I actually could talk about Gears for an hour and a half. It's fine. I really enjoy the franchise, and I have been a fan ever since it launched many, many, many years ago. But I want to talk about the next topic. And, you know, diversity is a word that holds great meaning in everyday life. And here's a fantastic quote from Goodreads.com. One of the greatest regrets in life is being what others want you to be rather than being yourself. It's time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength. Now, I happen to get goosebumps when I read it. I got goosebumps saying it. I got goosebumps writing it into the show notes. Now, it's one of the better quotes I've read in quite some time. And though this is a video game talk show, more specifically for the Xbox platform, our good friend and Xbox insider, Clobriel, took to Twitter last week and had some pretty interesting things to say. He broke down a list of announced games by the Xbox Game Studios coming to Game Pass in the next 18 months. The list is staggering, and it has a tremendous amount of awesome titles. But besides being the greatest thing since sliced bread, is what I like to call Xbox Game Pass, it's the best deal in gaming. And here are what Xbox gamers will be getting in their monthly subscription in the next 18 months. So I'm going to break down the list, and then we're going to talk about this. Gears 5, Gears Tactics, Halo Infinite, Battletoads, Ori Will of the the next Ori. Yes. Psychonauts 2, Wasteland 3, Wasteland 1 Remaster, The Outer Worlds, Bleeding Edge, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which looked dope, Age of Empires 2 and 3 Definitive Editions, and Minecraft Dungeons. Now, this is where the word diversity comes to play. And with, you know, Forte, with 15 studios, the output will stay, according, and this is coming directly from Clobriel. This is what he had to say. This is where the word diversity comes into play. With now 15 studios, the output will stay at that high or even higher, with still to be added studios for years to come. It's about giving people reason to subscribe to the service and invest in the Xbox ecosystem, whether that's on PC or console. Now, Gaming Forte, I have to say this. It's really difficult to argue with a list of first-party games that will be releasing in the next 18 months that covers an everything for everyone mentality. All the games listed may not be for you per se, but they are for someone. Now, do you agree with Clobriel that the flow of games will continue to grow as the 15 first-party studios, possibly more, start putting out these new games?
Oh, yeah. You know, the reason it's going to grow because there's a bunch of studios that Microsoft have that aren't even listed in this 15 games. Where is the game from, not Turn 10, but from Playgrounds? No game from Playground on that list.
Right.
What about the initiative? We know they're building games. You know, they got a couple of teams they're building on, plus their super team. So we don't even see anything from that on this list. So just to see this list of games, and like you said, they're not for everybody, but my biggest thing about Game Pass is it just gives everyone an opportunity to try out new things. It's like going, instead of having to go to Redbox, you can do it at home on your own system, especially since it was $1 for everybody over the last couple of months. But they just give added value every time you look at Game Pass. There's always some type of update to it. Game Pass has became the marketing juggernaut for Microsoft for pretty much all of their games. And just seeing games being like Gears 5 being in there, and knowing that Halo Infinite, the flagship title that's coming out next year, launching with the Xbox One Scorpio, might you ask, is really encouraging. And if these games, I think, like I said, the biggest thing for Microsoft is the games just have to score well. And if these games score well and come out being amazing games, then all of the conversation about Microsoft not really putting their efforts behind these games because they're putting them in Game Pass could be finally closed down. That's the one thing I hate hearing all the time.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, just because. Okay, look, the service is $15 a month, but Microsoft's doing one thing. They're doing something that people wish other like console manufacturers would do. Give the system away. Because guess what, guys? You don't make money off the system. You make it off of the software that you buy for the system. So think what Game Pass is. Game Pass, no, it's a software. It's something that's on your system. But guess what? They don't make money off of that. They make money off the engagement and the different things you do if you purchase those games through those services, which a lot of people have. We had Mac Pizzatella on Brappy. He even said it. He said games that are in Game Pass see a uptick in player population and in sales during the time they're in Game Pass at this time. And who's to say that won't continue to be more and more? The fact that Microsoft, look, there's a reason Microsoft gave it away for $1. They want to get as many people in the ecosystem as possible.
Yes.
So if there's 20 million, 30, I don't know how many people are in there, but let's say there's 15 million people in Game Pass. That means 15 million people have the opportunity to download Gears 5 and play it. 15 million people can finally play the tactics game when it does finally release, and they can see for themselves if it's a game that they truly want to play. And that is a really, really good marketing plan, because guess what? Who's going to sell that game? The people that played it, word of mouth.
Yes.
That's what Microsoft is banking on. Us going out and saying, dog, this game is amazing. You should go out and try it. If you don't have Game Pass, just buy it. And guess what? People will do it. That's why people buy PlayStation 5s to this day, or PlayStation 4s, because their friends say this system is amazing. And
what's the cool system? It's the cool system.
It's the cool system because that's where all your friends are, and your friends help recruit you to that system. And Microsoft is doing the same thing, not with the box, because the box is kind of secondary to them, but this subscription service is what is going to be the driving focus for them throughout this generation, or the end of this generation going into the next one.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. There's what people look. I see people talking about advertising, and we're going to kind of get into that in a second, because if there's one complaint that I have personally had with Microsoft this entire generation, it's the grassroots mentality. Now you see. Sony, if you look at Sony, first of all, and I've said this publicly, and I'm all happy to say this again. Sony's marketing would be considered by many as the Gestapo, right? Like, they go out and they blanket the whole area. Not only are they doing word of mouth with it being the cool system, the diehard gamers sell to the casuals. I'm not sure if they understand that, but they do. We do. We sell these games and these consoles to the uninformed, and they're not dumb. They're just uninformed. Gaming is just something that's secondary or third or fourth or maybe sometimes even fifth on the list of things that they enjoy doing. But when the informed, meaning the diehard gamers who put 25 hours a week into gaming, go out and say, man, I'm playing Spider-Man, and it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. People are like, well, wait a second. I'm an MCU fan. I just saw Spider-Man Far From Home. I really enjoyed that film. I can play. How the graphics? Oh man, it looks like the movie. Oh my god, I'm going to buy PlayStation. A good friend of ours of the community, Saltiest Gaming, who's in the chat, just did a ridiculous, awesome unboxing for his PlayStation, and this is the first time he's had one. He didn't buy one this generation. He got one. He got God of War. He got Spider-Man, and he got a few other games. I think Bloodborne was the other one he showed, and it might have been Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, freaking awesome games.
Right.
But his people who are just Xbox folks may say, well, wait a second. Salty just bought a PS4, and he's saying he's enjoying it. He's saying Spider-Man's amazeballs. That's what he just said in the chat. So could that sell some consoles? Yes. And is that grassroots? Yes. But on the back end of that, even though this is an Xbox show, folks, you got to highlight the king. The king right now is Sony, and I'm not full of S. I'm telling you, because I want better for Microsoft. They can go the grassroots. They can go to the influencers, which I do not agree doing with, because a lot of these influencers that they did all these, if you remember the Xbox One X they gave away for free with 25 games, a lot of those dudes talked a lot of shit about the Xbox. So I think that was a failed marketing attempt. What they should have did is get to the little guys like me and a few other people who are excited about the brand, who talk about the brand, in a happy mentality to help sell their system. But I guess we don't matter, and that's fine. And getting back to Sony, not only do they do the word of mouth cool system thing, grassroots, which is what Microsoft is doing, but then they go crazy. And they and they go to movie theaters. They go to basketball courts, right? You remember that God of War basketball court thing?
Look, man. God. Shout out to my people on Brad. Eric and B talked about this, man. It was like I forgot how amazing that Gears of War promo was on the Warriors basketball court. Crazy. I went back to go look at that thing. They literally put a tarp over the whole court. A freaking, however big that court is, 96 feet, I believe, and projected the game on the court and turned all the lights out and played God of War basically in a over-the-top view right there. That, even though when I played the game, I beat the game, I love the game, seeing that again, it already sold me. If I didn't play it, it sold a PS5 to me already. Yep. Mm-hmm. Just looking at that. And it upsets me about Microsoft. And I think that's why I'm a little salty about how Microsoft has handled this over the last 10 years, is because I remember Halo 3. I remember that marketing. It used to be everywhere. Like, you couldn't walk around a corner without seeing something Halo 3, Mountain Dew, or Doritos with something Halo on it. I remember the whole Emergence Day for Gears of War. That the Emergence Day was the hugest marketing thing outside of Halo they've ever done. And we don't have none of that no more. None of it. It's like, I understand that, Terry Myerson with his broke self didn't want to give the Xbox team any money when he was first there. I give them excuse passing for the beginning of this generation. I know Phil Spencer had a lot of other things that he had to work on to get to this point, and we all know that. But we're coming up to the end of this generation, and the one thing I will say, and I said it in that video that Boom talked about earlier, Microsoft went in cruise control pretty much ever since the entire generation. 2009, the Kinect was the worst piece of thing that they ever made, and the reason it was the worst is because people bought it, and they thought, and Microsoft Microsoft had this belief that that's what people wanted. And honestly, it isn't. And they tried to build a whole nother system around it, and it failed. And they've been playing catch up this whole generation just because of one mistake. Now, that's how Sony got all these marketing deals. Yep. And that's why you can see these Spider-Man trailers or Spider-Man sitting in a subway system and all this other crazy stuff, and God of War playing on a basketball court. You can see all that type of stuff. And I want Microsoft to get back to that, because that's when Microsoft was great. They were undeniable. They were actually the market leader then, outside of Nintendo, because Nintendo was like the the console for everyone at that point.
Right.
But when it came to us hardcore gamers, Microsoft led the way, and developers with them.
They were
Now
like the
you're seeing
bullies. They were like the
opposite.
bullies of the industry,
They
of
were
the
the
schoolyard.
bullies.
Yeah.
They were epic. They were
Yeah.
epic. What epic is now, they were epic then.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. Again, this was, I guess this wasn't actually a topic per se, but I do have to address this, as negative as we both have talked about with the marketing. And I'm sorry to say, folks, listen, if you're a fan of something, like I'm a Steelers fan, right? I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I've been watching the Steelers since I sat on my dad's knee at the age of 6 in '76, and I've been a fan ever since, right?
I'm sorry, Bo.
Well, I mean, listen, they've had some up and down years. This year is going to be tough. They lost 2
Patriots, man, all day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're our kryptonite. They beat us in the AFC Championship on a regular basis. But
no, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. As a fan of this, and again, sports, right? How does sports work into gaming? Boom. Well, it's the same thing. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm an Xbox fan. When the Xbox is doing well, I will cheer. When they're not doing well, well, then I will complain. Now, I don't overly complain. I don't sell my system. I don't make videos of me breaking it. I certainly don't flip flop like some people have done. I accept it for what it is. I make videos. I do podcasts. I'm very active on social media, saying if I like something or I don't like it. So I keep it 100. But there has been a massive turnaround when Phil Spencer got promoted in 2017. And again, you can say you didn't like what used to happen. Eventually, we're going to have to move on from 2013. You have to look at what Phil Spencer's done post getting promoted. And he's done everything he said he wanted to do. Then you want to take it a little further and get it more excited about, get back to the excitement of the brand. Look what they did in 2018. Their E3 was magnificent. They announced all these studios. That now they have 15 first-party studios. When pre-E3 2018, they had 7, right? So they got 8 in 2 years, and there's still more that are on the way. So the marketing is starting to change. And how do you know that? Well, the marketing this year with all of the third-party marketing deals for the biggest games that they've gotten is proof that change is coming. And I'm not sure if anyone knows about this, and I'm going to do a video about this probably sometime later this week or early next week about how certain marketing folks that are retiring, that have been with the company for a very long time, they have old ideas. If you look, there's been a lot of like LinkedIn stuff that they're looking for new advertisement blood to fill these spots. They understand that they have a problem and things are going to get better. But I want to move on to the next topic. And it obviously concerns the marketing department at Xbox, and why I think that they're starting to listen. Apparently, they've been hard at work at a super secret marketing deal with the makers of the ultra popular battle royale title Fortnite. Yep, you've heard it correct. And this is coming off a recently announced special edition Fortnite Xbox One S bundle. According to the story that I pulled from Dextro.com, what this article had to say was super important and is proving that Phil Spencer is in fact listening and has observed the shortcomings of the marketing of this entire generation. In an Xbox One, apparently they're doing a $1 million Fortnite Battle Royale tournament that's exclusive to Xbox. And what's more interesting, Forte, is that some professionals have already earned over $500,000 through these tournaments, but through the Fortnite World Cup, that's on the horizon. So more money is going to be up for grabs. However, another particular tournament has taken the interest of Fortnite players, and I sent you the pictures of it, and it was obviously quickly pulled down. According to the story, it says, we will be running a few console mobile specific tournaments in the future, but the majority of tournaments and arena will continue to be mixed. And this came from Colin Forgel of Epic Games Competitive Design Lab. And the pictures that I sent you, and I'll post this on Twitter. It's a purple Xbox One S. It obviously comes with a special edition controller. It comes with a special edition skin, which of course I'm sure is selling for $10,000 online. But the interesting part about it is that underneath it, it said Fortnite Xbox Cup, $1 million U.S. prize pool for solos. Jump in and start training. Now, this is a big deal, Forte, and this is why I think the marketing is starting to kind of, I guess, turn around, if you will, because obviously whether you played and I don't, I'm not a Fortnite player. It's just not my bag, and I'm okay with it, but it is still the biggest game, whether you're free to play, paid for it, you spend $10,000 on V-Bucks, whatever, it's still one of the most popular games. So in your opinion, how important is it for Microsoft to have this console exclusive tournament, more specifically, have a special edition Fortnite console?
Well, the console is amazing because it's like a really pretty looking purple in that skin.
It's a dope looking machine.
It's a dope system. I wish you could get it separately, but yeah, it's dope. But when it comes to this tournament, man, Microsoft has always been good at marketing something that is already got mass appeal. They did it with Call of Duty. Call of Duty, if you remember, before it went over to Sony, it was exclusive with those $1 million tournaments that they did every year for the new Call of Duty. And think about it. Ever since Call of Duty has went over to the PlayStation brand, they've been doing those tournaments, but have you really heard those tournaments? Like, were they real loud in the community?
Nope.
But when they were with Xbox, it was everywhere. You knew about the tournament. Everybody, even if you didn't want to play in those tournaments, it was something that was plastered all across your dashboard. It was at the end of their trailers on the YouTube channel and stuff, or on Twitter. So Microsoft puts a lot of effort behind these tournaments. That's why I think the whole Gears of War thing went out the way it did, because Microsoft wants to be in that space, and especially with their own game. And trust me, Halo's going to be the same thing. But Fortnite being such a huge and proven entity, this is just like a match made in heaven just for them, because Fortnite's going to do all the work and Microsoft just going to provide the cash. But that's what's going to happen. It's only on the Xbox platform. So you have to have Xbox or be on one of the supporting systems that are listed, that I don't think they listed all the supporting systems for it, but because they said it's mixed right now. But it just lets you know that Microsoft is really serious about the online infrastructure of what they're doing for these tournaments, and they're aligning themselves with the market leader, and Fortnite as of right now is it. And even when PUBG was the big thing, what did Microsoft do? Host big tournaments for PUBG,
and locked it up for a year.
Yeah. Fortnite's too big to do that for now because it's already everywhere. But putting yourself in a situation where people can make more money on your platform, and Fortnite at the highest level is all about money and competitive. So this is a good job. This is a really good thing. Microsoft is finally getting back to the little things that they lost earlier in the generation. And I think we're just going to see more and more of that going forward, especially with their whole service focused thing, because making money and tournaments are kind of built right into that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's again, if you look at what they did at the end of 2018 with the marketing deals, right? Now, the games didn't do well, but the marketing deals were big. And then you talk about Fallout 76 and you talk about Anthem. Okay, yeah, the games, like I said, they didn't do well. There were a lot of issues. But if you look at what they did for 2019, the marketing, third-party marketing deals have been nothing short of it. You know, you went from having nothing in 2017 or anything that was viable, then you started to see these changes. Like, unfortunately, with a ship as big as Microsoft, the Microsoft Corporation, more specifically the Xbox division, the ship is really big. So sometimes, and mostly, it takes time to turn that ship around. There's a lot of inner workings that have to be fixed. You can't just, flip a switch and it's fixed. A lot of things have to happen. And like I said, since Phil has been, right hand to Satya Nadella, things are changing. Things are changing in a big way, and we're starting to see the marketing department start to do better. Now, obviously, I want them to market their own stuff a heck of a lot more. I want to see Gears of War 5 or Gears 5 marketing on the level of what you saw with, Halo 5. I want to see that kind of marketing, not misleading, of course, but marketing of that substantial, size and scope. I really want to see that. Hopefully they're gonna bring it around.
Right.
But you know what? I want to move on to the next topic, Forte. And this is a story you're going to find on the Xbox Factor podcast. No one is talking about it. I saw it. I had to discuss it. Halo Infinite, one of the biggest games in 2020, outside, of course, of The Last of Us and what do you call it, Cyberpunk 2077, is going to receive some additional development support from a studio that helped with Mass Effect's animations. And I have in my notes, oh no. And this story I pulled from Gaming Bolt. Now, Halo Infinite is a game that Microsoft is banking on heavily, positioned as the reinvention of the Halo franchise and a game that ushers in the Xbox Scarlet, or Anaconda, whatever it's going to officially be called, as its main big launch title. Microsoft is putting all of their chips on the table, and with this particular project, I mean, I think it's really known that this has to hit. Now, 343 Industries are already receiving support on the game's development from Skybox Labs, but that's not it. As far as the support is concerned, it appears now this story I pulled, like I said, from Gaming Bolt. They originally got the story from Generation Xbox, which I believe is a Spanish Xbox. I think it's from Spain. The studio would also be receiving support from Spearsoft. For those who are not aware, the developer has collaborated with several studios on AAA games in the past, from EA Sports to, of course, BioWare's Mass Effect Andromeda. And of course, what is somewhat concerning, Forte, for Halo fans is that Spearsoft worked on Andromeda's animations, something that was publicly criticized, and to say that there are memes for days with that animation would be an understatement.
You can be nice. It was hot trash.
Yeah, it was okay. Well, listen, it was hot trash. It was terrible. But with that said, Generation Xbox mentions that Spearsoft are aiding 343 Industries with Halo Infinite's animations. They also make it clear that the bulk of the animation work will still be done by the in-house professionals. I guess they're doing touch-up work, or handling the cleanup work of the animations, as opposed to doing the actual animations. But I'm going to ask you this, Gaming Forte. When you read this story, were you slightly concerned on who 343 was hiring to assist them in one of the most important game launches on the Xbox product since Halo Combat Evolved? Or do you think that 343 understands this and will exceed gamers' expectations with Halo Infinite?
Look, man, anybody that read that verbatim like you just read it when they first saw it instantly was like, my God, what are you thinking about now? And even to this day, I still am cautious about it, because I wouldn't put a development team in that type of stressful scenario, just because of what they went through the last game. And this is an even bigger IP than Mass Effect. But the only difference is that team built the Mass Effect game. This team is just insisting in making the actual thing. So as long as the quality control is in place, because there's a difference between the developers that make it, and you can't knock the people that did the animations, because the animations, yes, they were horrendous, but the quality control was even more horrendous. How did he even make it out the door in that state? So there was a lot of failures on a lot of different points when it came to Mass Effect. With Halo, if they're just assisting them in making the animation,
I think they're doing the cleanup work. I'm pretty sure that's what the story's talking about.
As long as the end result comes down to 343 okaying and being good with what they did, I'm fine with it. I just feel like that's the one thing I'm fine with. These developers aren't putting out games, or they're not trying to make something bad. They're not doing it on purpose. But the problem is the people that test these games are the ones that's letting this stuff get through the cracks, and they need to be held to a more higher standard. If they're not the ones doing it, the actual developer themselves that's making the game is the one that needs to do something like that. So I have faith that 343 is going to make sure this is something that is a priority, because they know how important this title is. For some people, this might be the last chance that Halo has for. I mean, we are in the 5th, entry into the mainline story, and they're also doing a kind of soft reboot to the series. So I'm always going to be interested because I'm a Halo fiend. I literally switched from PC to Xbox just because Microsoft bought it. And I never looked back ever since. And the fact that this is something that's going over to the PC platform, it has to be good, because
it definitely does.
It has to be, because this is two things are going to happen with this title. Xbox people are going to play it just because it's an Xbox title. But if this game is going to do the numbers that Microsoft wants it to do, it has to be perfect, because guess what? There is so much competition on the Steam marketplace and on PC. And we all know that this is where that game, as much as we love Xbox, this game is probably going to sell more on PC, because this will be the first true game in the Halo franchise.
I can only imagine the maxed out specs on this thing on the PC.
Exactly.
It's going to be bananas.
And that's the thing. And PC people aren't going to allow a game to be buggy. We used to have people that made their whole channels, rest in peace to Total Biscuit. I used to love his videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But that man used to make a living off of critiquing videos from builds from console to PC, and if they were up to snuff. And I did a lot of stuff off his recommendations when it came to playing games. So Microsoft has a lot to live up to when it comes to this. But if they knock it out the park, man, the overall joy that people will enjoy playing a game, not just Halo on PC, but on console too, will be amazing. And
it's going to be a big boost to the morale of the Xbox fan base.
And that will be, and they need this to launch the next system.
Yeah,
people are already on the fence about the next, the Scarlet, when it comes to the system. If Halo performs, it will make people go out and buy it, because they'll be like, you know what? I want to play this in a better resolution. I want to play it at a better frame rate. And then Microsoft will sell more systems just because of this game.
Well, listen, it is. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I have complete faith in this game. I really, really do. I understand that a lot of people are kind of, reserving judgment. Obviously, Halo 4, which was their first game, the story was fantastic. I really enjoyed the story. Did not like the multiplayer. Halo 5 comes out, terrible story. I'm not even dissing Locke. I just think that what the marketing lied to the people, and I don't want to play a Master Chief game where the Master Chief is only in for 20% of the game. Like I said, I understand they're trying to introduce Locke and that team, but that's not what I bought the game for. If you want to give me a 50-50 split, I'm okay with that, but not 80-20. And the story kind of fell apart for me. The multiplayer Warzone was and is still fantastic. But they're looking to do bigger team battles in the online, which it's my favorite mode to play. And if it's something, could you imagine a big team battle like 50v50? Holy shit, that would be so freaking awesome. You add vehicles to that. Listen, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, but I have to shout out a couple of people. Zemi Games, a good friend of mine. Everyone knows him from the Breakfast with Boom, as well as him being an amazing community member. He says, in all fairness, the new Mass Effect was made on the Frostbite engine, and that actually is a really good point. And, of course, Thanaros, I have to shout him out. He's always in the chat. He says, go to Spearsoft's website. These guys are pros. They have worked on Quantum Break, FIFA, League of Legends, and AC Origins. And you know what? All of those games, what could you say? All the games are fantastic. But, I have faith that it's going to be a great game. I have faith that the Xbox, whatever it's called, Anaconda, Xbox 2, Project Scarlet, whatever, is going to be the lead dog. It's going to be the system to beat. Microsoft knows that listen, they've said it. They're never going to be behind the narrative power again. And I think that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I mean, if you just look at small tidbits that we know about, right? they are going and they're doing stuff through hardware where on the PlayStation 5 they're using software. You know what I'm saying? And this is I forgot what some of the other things that they're going to be doing, but you know, we don't know a lot. We don't know enough of either system. I do know that I have faith Microsoft is going to put out a beast of a box. But I want to move on to the next topic. You know, I should have brought this up earlier because we were talking about Game Pass.
Yeah,
but you know, Game Pass continues to prove that it is the best gaming service ever released in gaming. And I just want to go over some of the games for July that a lot of people may or may not know about. This is the list for the first half of July for Xbox Game Pass. Middle Earth: Shadow of War was one of them. My Time at Portisha, I think it is another one. Undertale, which is a great game. Blazing Chrome is amazing. If you are an old school cat like me and you loved Contra, Blazing Chrome is for you. Dead Rising 4, a lot of people didn't like it. I actually did like it. I enjoyed running over millions and millions of zombies. Lego City Undercover, Time Spinner, and the last one is Unavowed. And of course, it's getting really bigger because I'm not sure if anyone saw this. They're releasing 6 more titles at the end of the month to this already stacked list. One is called Nightcall. The other is Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, The Banner Saga 3, For the King, Killer Instinct Definitive Edition, which Killer Instinct is still the best fighter out there, and lastly, Resident Evil 4. But you see, you know why it gets even better, Forte, is because they dropped 2 tidbits of games that are coming out in August, big games towards the end of August. And the first one is, and basically, I like I said, I say this all the time. The Xbox Game Pass is the gift that keeps giving. The first one confirmed for August 27th is the Bard's Tale 4 Director's Cut. Now, I'm not sure how many people are Bard's Tales fan. I am, and so is my brother. I'm definitely stoked about this one. And it's coming and obviously here's the thing, it's coming to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, because obviously this deal with NXile was this game was coming out on multiple platforms. Whatever new they put out is going to be exclusive to the PC and of course the Xbox Game Pass. But that's not the only other one. This one has me super stoked. Blair Witch comes out on August 30th. Now, I don't know if you guys, anybody saw the movies. The movies were terrifying. And I like horror movies. I really enjoyed it. And when I was sitting in the Microsoft Theater and this first came up, I was sitting next to Colt Eastwood, right? Because he was at E3 as well. I had Colt on my right and King from the Iron Lords podcast on my left. And right in front of me was Tim Dog. So, I was surrounded by Xbox dudes. This was great. And it gasps. I was like, King was hitting me. He's like, oh my God, this is Alan Wake. This is Alan Wake. I thought it was Alan Wake. I'm getting goosebumps like I'm sitting in that theater again. And it turns out it wasn't Alan Wake, but it's something that's exclusive to the Xbox Game Pass as well as for the console and the PC. This game looks dope. And I know it was a CG trailer. I think they showed some gameplay in there, especially when they're doing the first person with the flashlight. The game looks terrifying. I am really, really amped. Again, day one into Game Pass, these 2 big titles. Forte, my question to you is, how excited are you that they just keep releasing these big titles? And they're going to keep getting bigger, but more specifically, Bard's Tale and the Blair Witch in August, and we're still only in the middle of July. I mean, what do you say about that?
Look, man, so just to speak on the 2, that Bard's Tale and Blair Witch, when I was watching that, I was with PTK Blam and then when we were watching E3, shout out to them. But man, when we said the same thing. This is Alan Wake. This is something Alan Wake. We gonna get an Alan Wake too. And when we saw that it was Blair Witch, we saw it because first thing Fuzzy was like, dude, that's the Blair Witch emblem. And we was like, sure, dude, because they pulled it up over the forest and stuff. And I instantly got goosebumps and started remembering those movies. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I want to do this. But I am going to play because I enjoyed the movies, but they terrified the crap out of me. And I think that's one thing that we missed. We only got one real true horror game like that, which was the I can't think of the name of the game. It was a 2-part game. but we only got one game that was like that.
Oh, Layers of Fear.
Layers of Fear is one of it. It's another. I forget. It was on PlayStation first, and it came to Xbox second. Shoot, I can't think of the name of it. You basically were running from them the whole time. I can't think of the name of the game, but that was another really, really cool game that I really enjoy, and I think this is going to be right up the alley of that game. Braid too. I didn't play it, but
Outlast. Thanks,
yeah,
Zemi
Outlast.
Games.
That's exactly what
Zemi Games with the save. Thank you, Outlast.
Yeah, dude.
And he doesn't like scary games. Oh, by the way,
no, Outlast, Lord, and I was that game free in the DLC. The second one, man, craziness. I love those games, but yeah, that's going to be super exciting for me. Bracelet, I didn't play it. I am super excited to play the definitive edition of it, just because it is going to have all the content involved. And I'm a huge fan of dungeon crawlers. I'm a huge Diablo fan, and seeing a different spin on that when it comes to the first person view of it looks weird, but I'm really interested in that, and just because it's something different, and I'm hoping it can revitalize or at least get people interested into that genre, because one of the most sold games is Diablo on the system, and people want more games like that. And I think even Vermintide 2, which unfortunately just left Game Pass back on July 10th.
Yeah.
If you didn't get a chance to play it, go buy it. It was amazing.
It's a great game. If you like Left 4 Dead, it's right up your alley.
Love it. So it's right up your alley. But Shadow of War, love that game. DLC is better than the base game to me. The DLC with the Lady Wraith in it.
Oh, see, okay.
Really, really good. So if you had the DLC for that, play it. It's pretty cool. I have kids, so the Lego games are always going to be near to my heart. I love Lego City Undercover. It's one of the better ones that was out there on the system. So all these games look really good, and this goes back to what you said about the 15 games coming from the first party. These are games that aren't from the first party that are also part of that collection of Game Pass. So just more ammunition for you to spend even more money on games, not even on games, but just on the service itself. And if you want these games, you get them at a 20% discount too.
Yeah.
So that's a really good feature that I like on it.
I mean, look, like I said, we're not gonna spend too long on Game Pass, because obviously everyone. Listen, you really can't disagree. I know that there's been a lot of talk about how it's hurting the brand, and that it's gonna, we've actually heard, Xbox guys be like, oh, it's devaluing the brand. No, it is giving gamers who may not play a lot of the games a try. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you put Blazing Chrome into the to the store. There's not going to be anyone talking about that. The store is so overstuffed with games that go unnoticed, and because it's a 16-bit, homage to Contra, it may not even get a sale. But being that it's on Game Pass, people are discovering it. As a matter of fact, King had made mention of something that I didn't even know was that kind of a game. The Last Station. I didn't know about that game. He talked about it on ILP this Sunday, and I'm like, I had to hit him up. I'm like, yo, King, what game was that you were talking about? I downloaded it. I'm gonna start playing it. Right now I'm playing Guacamelee 1 and 2. I would, they're Castlevania type games, and I enjoy that, but I would not have played it or bought it because there are no demos anymore. At least with Game Pass, you can play it. You can try a game. And you're like, well, this sucks. It's not for me. Well, then you just delete it from your hard drive. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, and I just want to get back to those days where I'm not saying we need to carry around CRT TVs anymore, but because those were the great days. But
yeah, they were.
But this is what we can do. We can get back to a day where we carry our portable hard drives to our friend's house that may not have a game, and all we gotta do is log in with our account, and we can experience it at somebody else's house. That is something that the new generation of systems has given us that we didn't have in the past. So, so it's not dead. It's still alive and well. We just got to find a way to share this hobby with as many people as possible.
Well, listen, if they want grassroots, they're gonna get it from this channel. This channel is listen, look, I like being positive, and maybe that's why I'm not as big. Maybe I'm hoping to hit 3,000 subs by the end of the year. That would be pretty cool. Do I think I'm going to get there? Well, I don't know, because I'm not negative, and I think people, I think honestly, negative sells. But I've said this privately. I'll say it over the air right now. Anyone that listens to me, if you expect me to change, to be a negative bastard, to try to get subs, I'm going to tell you this right now. I will pack this shit up and quit tomorrow if that's what I had to do. Because like I said, I keep it 100. This is who I am on the air, off the air, in uniform, not in uniform. I love helping people. I love talking with people. I love gaming. I love the Xbox brand. And if you want negative shit, this is not the channel for you. So I say, have a great day. Hit the thumbs down button on your way out. And don't share this on social media. That's all I can say. But I want to say that I do keep it real. I do enjoy being positive. And I kind of want to move on to the next topic that I pulled from the amazing website, TheVerge.com. And this proves to me, Forte and chat, that Microsoft is ultra serious about Project xCloud, because currently Microsoft has prototypes that have made the interwebs where Xbox controllers that hook to phones, and I gotta be honest with you, I sent you the pictures. Yeah. They look really, really dope. I have to be honest, and I'm gonna say this: I don't really like buying third-party peripherals. I like the first-party stuff because it's the first-party stuff and it's usually quality, especially when you talk about Microsoft. I mean, they're the masters of controllers, right? I mean, they have the Elite 2.0 coming out. I have mine pre-ordered. I currently have 3 of them. I have one in every color, including the Gears one, by the way.
Lucky you, I don't have that one.
But Microsoft is currently, according to the article, is experimenting with prototype Xbox controllers for phones and tablets. Now, the controllers attached to the sides of the device to provide an experience that's similar, okay, folks, similar to the Nintendo Switch. And the success of the Switch is a testament to the value of mobile gaming with physical controls. Now, this story was originally reported upon by Windows Central. Now, Microsoft, like I said, has been experimenting with a variety of slide-in grips that make the attachment far more flexible than the bulky solutions that already exist, like Game Case, Game Vice, or Ion iCade Mobile, which I think those are all terrible. Microsoft's research first documented these prototype controllers back in October of 2018, and now Microsoft has even patented the idea. Now, obviously, I can't show anyone because I don't use OBS, but I'll post it on Twitter if anyone's interested, or put it into the show notes at the end of the show. But the controllers, it basically looks like almost like a Pateron the Xbox controller that just kind of splits in half and connects to your tablet and your phone, and it seems as if that they're rechargeable. Where the bottom depiction is you plug into a little 3-inch box, and each of the controller pieces clip into that and charge. Now, the patents and research don't necessarily mean that these controllers will be in time for xCloud. They are the prototypes, obviously, but Microsoft has been overhauling its research division in recent years to ensure its inventions become reality. These prototypes look far better than what we've seen so far. Now, here's my question to the chat as well as to Gaming Forte. Now, mobile gaming is certainly not for everyone. It is a very casual market. But for me, like when I wait for my wife to come out of work, I still play Words with Friend. But if I could play Halo 5, Halo 5, Gears 5, Halo Infinite on my cell phone while I wait for her, and I can have an in-home experience with a controller that's first party, that is as awesome as what, like I said, you could say whatever you want. If you've never used an Elite controller, don't, unless you want to, your gaming is going to be ruined, because you're going to have to buy one. It is the greatest controller ever created, and the Xbox One controllers, I'm sorry to say, are probably second best. I terribly dislike the PlayStation controls. I hate the design of the sticks. That's why I have a third party peripheral that gives me the Xbox experience. But for you as a gamer, as an Xbox gamer, Forte, are you excited that Microsoft is looking to give the players that invest into xCloud an in-home experience on the go?
Yeah, I am excited for that. Normally these when they do these different streaming methods or do mobile games, they leave it to the third party to make these type of adjustments and stuff. I mean, even Microsoft allows you to pair one of the newer Xbox controllers, the Bluetooth ones, even the Xbox One Elite controller can be paired because it's Bluetooth to any smartphone. But even then, you still have to like find a way to prop your phone up to get it to, you know, look and stuff. So it's not the most ideal thing. It's probably better for tablets and stuff other than phones. But for like a phone or a smaller tablet, that is a really, really good thing that Microsoft is really going to invest in. I feel like if they're going to make this a serious push when it comes to xCloud reaching 2 billion gamers like they wanted to do, they have to do something like this. I am also a huge fan of just Xbox One or Xbox controllers in general. I like the Xbox One controller. I think the 360 controller is better, but the Elite controller I think is better than all of them. Yeah, you know, the biggest problem I had with the Xbox One controller is just the bumpers itself. But they fixed a lot of that issue with the Elite controller. But when it comes to any controller, I will always play with the Elite controller or anything because, like you said, I am spoiled. And I have 2 Elite controllers, and I already have the version 2 on pre-order. And then just for the fact that I don't want to play with regular PlayStation sticks, I went out and bought the Astro controller because it has.
Yeah, someone in the chat said the Astro controller is really good.
No, the Astro controller is beautiful. If you are an Xbox fan and don't like the straight inline sticks that PlayStation has, and you want a offset option, get the Astro controller. Astro controller is amazing. The Scuff controller is good too, but your mileage will vary depending on if you have a good one or a bad one. So I will go with the Astro one in that case. I am a huge Astro fan, but this is a really good idea. As long as they can ergonomically make it fit the phones, and I know there's no way they're going to make it so they can say like, hey, this fits every phone and stuff, you know, or not.
Some phones will work better than the others for sure.
Some phones will work better, and that's what I'm trying to say. So overall, I think it's a good idea. Microsoft needs to lay stake to that, just like every other company does, and not depend on other people to make the experience better for your fans. You make it better for your fans yourself.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm going to say this, you know, obviously in the past, Microsoft has partnered with Samsung, which is one of the biggest phone and tablet makers. As a matter of fact, all of my phones in this home and tablets are Samsung products. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least where they offer. So, because if you remember when the Xbox One, was it the S or the X came out, they partnered with Samsung. When you bought one of their newer TVs, the Xbox, it was the X, came free, right? They had a big partnership, and that was a big marketing partnership with Samsung. I can see them going back to Samsung once again and doing some sort of a deal where, you know, maybe you buy the tablet that comes with the controllers and, you know, 3 months of Game Pass or something on one of their newer tablets. I would definitely be down for that, because my tablet that I use as a teleprompter for the shows is old as hell. So I'm eventually going to need a new one. I would definitely jump in for that. But I'm going to say this, folks. Look, we had nearly 140 people watching live. I have to thank everybody in the chat for being here. It was definitely a lively chat, to say the least.
Yes, sir.
And I enjoyed that. Like I said, all I ask, if you're going to be in the chat, try to be adult about it. You know, if you don't agree with someone, I hear you, but the minute I start to see, and it's not, sometimes I miss it because I'm running the show. I don't get a chance to read every comment because I'm talking on the mic, and you can only do 2 things that, you know, really one thing, at a time if you want it to sound correctly. But I do have great moderators. And if the moderators feel that you're kind of being an a-hole, or you're being racist or sexist or anything dumb like that because of a video game opinion, I gotta be honest with you. If they ban you, almost 99.9% of the time, you're gonna stay banned, because I trust them indubitably. Because, you know, obviously I've talked with them privately, and they understand what my toleration levels are. And one thing I won't tolerate is name calling. Whether it's race, you're out. Sexual, any kind of that sexual talk, you're out. If you're calling some, people names that we won't say live on the air, you're out. And I'm gonna stay strong by that because it's video games, folks. It's just gaming. If you have a different opinion, it's okay. You just don't need to take it to another level. But I want to thank the chat. Got to thank my moderators once again. And of course, I could not have done today's show without my outstanding and incredible community leader in the form of Gaming Forte. Dude, please, I want you to tell everyone where they can flock to your channel, hit that subscribe button, check out your last video that we talked about on the intro of the show, and of course, follow you on all forms of social media.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, man. You make it very enjoyable. It's endearing, and I love you for that, man, because you do a lot of hard work that people really don't get a chance to see behind the scenes. But as always, it's Gaming Forte on YouTube, Gaming_Forte on Twitter. You also could catch me and the lively Slow-Mo Backslap that's been in the chat.
Yeah.
We're always on the Brat podcast. That's actually tonight at 9 p.m., guys. You get part 2 of Brat for the week. If you didn't check us out on Monday, we had a rant version of it that ended up basically being 2.5 hours long. So that's basically your first part of Brat today. But yeah, catch us over there and check out the video. Like he said, it was about why Xbox people are turning their back on the next Xbox. And I'll just give you some indicator before you watch that. I come off as a person, you may think I'm a person that doesn't care about the Xbox platform sometimes in that video. And the only reason is because of that is because I'm highly disappointed in some of the stuff that they've done.
Yes.
But I say overall in that video, Xbox, the box to me isn't the important thing anymore. It's the ecosystem that they're building. It's the friends I built on that platform. It's the enjoyment I get out of just logging into Xbox Live no matter where I'm at. And as of right now, Microsoft to me hasn't given me a reason to go out and buy the Scorpio, or not the Scorpio. I have a Scorpio, but to go out and buy the Anaconda. And that is the main reason of that whole video. Like, why am I not buying it? Why are a lot of other people not buying it? But that can all change with a simple thing. Microsoft just shows the games and gives us all the reason to want to flock to that new system and show us that having an Xbox is worth having. Because as of right now, my X is good enough for me. Right. I just want Microsoft to prove to me that spending another $500-600 on a platform is good for my investment, because I'm gonna play Xbox games regardless, no matter where. I'm gonna play them on my PC. I'm gonna play them on my my Xbox One X, and I'm still gonna be a part of this community because I love Xbox. But don't get down on people unless they are completely just being a-holes and telling you that your opinion doesn't matter, because everyone's opinion matters in this point. You know, say what you want to say and stick to that. Don't let other people run a narrative for you. And that's
right. No, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason of that video.
I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. The Halo Infinite is being made for Project Scarlet, right? There's no doubt that that game, along with Forza Motorsport 8 and some surprise title that we didn't see coming, because it's going to be a 3-block of games plus a bunch of little ones that they're going to bring, you know, to the launch of this console, and they're all being built to take full advantage of all the light sourcing and all the HDR and everything else, all the bells and whistles you could possibly imagine to show off this console. And I think that what's going to wind up happening, especially with people like yourself, Forte, that are on the fence, you're going to see Halo Infinite running on the new console, and you can be like, well, holy shit, where do I sign the dotted line, take my $500?
And I hope, and you know what, Boom, and if they do that, I will be there 100% with you, because I am a person that I love new hardware, but I'm just at a point now where it's like Microsoft's putting a lot of focus in the services, which is nothing wrong because I support the service. But I can't lie. When you tell us that you can play your games anywhere, that $500 becomes a little bit more meaningful where you spend it at. So if I can spend it in making my YouTube career and my gaming career better on my PC better, I will. But if you make it so that system can look, if they say 60 frames per second and 4K on all games, I'm there, because you can't get that on any other console. I'm there. I'll do it just for that, because as much as I love PC, console is more friendly and I don't have to troubleshoot every 10 minutes.
Right, right. No, absolutely. Well, look.
I'll be there for that.
I mean, listen, it's going to be interesting. Only time is going to tell. Obviously, you know, no one wants to wish their life away. We are still in July. We still have a ton of great games coming out in 2019, but 2020 is definitely going to be probably one of the biggest in gaming history regarding consoles, especially because you know the PS5's coming, you know the Xbox Scarlet's coming. We're hearing that the Switch Pro may be releasing around the same time, possibly a little earlier than the big boy. So could you imagine that 3 new consoles, which of course I'm gonna have to figure out, you know, and buy them, because I buy all consoles. I'm, you know, that's just who I am. But that's going to be interesting. But this has been a great show where we're over the 90-minute mark. I hope everyone enjoyed this. All I'm going to say is this. If you're still here, that means you're a fan. And if you are a fan, all I ask is that you do hit the like button. I don't understand the how YouTube, you know, the algorithms. I don't understand it. All I do know is that thumbs ups do help the channel. It does get out to other people who may not know about the show. The only thing I'll ask is this. Again, if you're a fan and you enjoyed it, I hit the like button, but share this on social media. You know, go on Twitter, share the link, because, like I said, there are not too many Xbox shows that are still remaining positive about the brand. If you want hate, you want hate speech, there's plenty of them out there, and I'm not going to name them. But that's how they do their shtick. I am going to say this. There's one other show that there was actually 2 that I really enjoy. First of all, RDX. Dealer. He doesn't need my help. The guy has a gazillion followers. His show gets a gazillion views, but I really do like what he has to do. And I like the Xbox 2 podcast with Randall Thor. I do like those. Those are 2 of my personal favorites. But if you are enjoying this, you know, go out there and help promote this channel. It would be greatly appreciated. But I want to thank everybody once again, and I just want to close it with this. The reason why this is the second week that Xbox The Factor podcast is on Wednesday is because of family stuff that I'm helping my stepdad. He had eye surgery last week. I got to bring him back to the doctor tomorrow, so that's why the 2 Thursdays were changed to Wednesdays. Next week's show will return to its 12 p.m. Thursday. Regular schedule time and date. But thanks again for everyone for being here. Again, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you didn't, well, then hit the down button. But thanks again for being here. Have a fantastic week. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. It's hot as hell. And I want to just end it with this. It doesn't cost anything to be nice, and treat people how you'd like to be treated. That's it for me for the rest of the day. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, and before y'all